Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. Central Screen Services LLC, in collaboration with Mask & Sons Incorporated. All screen services are available. We offer a variety of colors, durability, and sizes for all your screening needs. Pool areas, patios, and more. Call 352-603-4099 today for your free estimate. Proudly serving all of Citrus, Sumter, Hernando, Lake, and Pasco counties. To find out more, check them out on Facebook. Lions Only Landscape. Looking for landscaping or trimming done in your yard? They provide services such as landscaping, rocking, curbing, driveways, and more. Proudly serving the Villages area. Reach out to Mike Zapata or Fernando Arredondo for free quotes and more info. Today's guest is a special guest for us. He's a brother I never had from another mother. And his name is, when they say his name, everybody says, you got to be joking, but it's really his name. And he's one of our great athlete from South Sumter. He now coaches with South Sumter, and he does a great job doing that. Guys, welcome to the show. This is Mr. Yourhighness Morgan. Yourhighness, welcome to the show, buddy.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me on. Yeah. So before we took the Buffalo trip, I did an unofficial visit before Buffalo. I went over to UCF.
Oh yeah.
Who took me over to UCF? I'm trying to remember. There was this guy. I think he was like might have filmed the games or something.
It wasn't just me and you; it was a whole crew.
Oh man, we took so UCF, man, they first offer, and they were opening up a stadium that year. I think it's called Bright House.
Bright House back in the day.
It was called
Spectrum.
It was called the Bright House Stadium or something like that. And they were opening it up, and they
first game.
Hey, we want you to come over to the game, and I'm like, man, I ain't got no car.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm like, man, I don't got no car, and how I'm finna get over here to this game, and some kind of way. I think you had an affiliation with the Orlando area or something. Did you work over there?
I worked at Disney.
You worked at Disney.
I knew people from UCF, and they lived over there, and they worked at Disney, and I've been over there quite a bit. I knew the area really well.
Right.
But that's about it.
I don't remember, but some kind of way we ended up coming across each other, and I told you about it, and you was like, man, I'll take you in.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a cool experience because it was Texas. They were playing Texas.
They opened up with Texas. They opened their stadium with Texas. That's crazy.
It's a big deal.
That was a huge deal back then. Again, kids today might not understand it. At that point in time, I believe, did Texas win the Natty that year?
I was going to say Texas was that was 2 years removed from the national championship.
Yeah, so they were ranked.
Vince Young.
Yeah, they were ranked. I thought they won one after that too.
They were in it. They got beat. That was when they played Alabama.
Okay, was that 09?
That might have been 09. Yeah, so it might have been the next year.
But anyway, so they were ranked probably top 5, top 10 in the nation at the time. Yeah. They had a big time running back named Jamal Charles, and UCF had a running back named Kevin Smith, and he ran for 2,000 yards or something crazy.
He set a record for rushing yards.
So they had invited us over to the game. So we probably, I think we took Marty and Denzel and T-Man and Jimmy and you and me.
Kyle
Starnes, baseball. I think Kyle was getting recruited there for baseball, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe Marty also held the UCF offer. So, we just made a big trip out of it. And, again, they rolled out the red carpet, and we ate as much as we wanted to eat. And unfortunately, it was raining. It was raining.
Oh, gosh, I remember. But no, first of all, it was so hot,
Swelter.
and it was like when they opened Disneyland. I don't know if you know the history behind Disneyland. You probably don't, but a lot of people don't know. When they opened it up in 1955, they had two problems. They had a water issue, so they said either you can have bathrooms or drinking fountains, and it was the same issue there.
Oh,
and they said, well, we can't not have bathrooms.
Right.
So they said, we'll take the bathrooms. Well, back then they didn't have. I don't know if they had water bottles for them in 1955 or not, but they made it work.
Yeah.
But that was the same. Remember, they trucked in bottles and they gave out water to the fans. It was so hot because it was September.
Yeah.
So hot, and that stadium was like a big solar panel.
Yes, Lord have mercy.
It was like one big reflector. So you're sitting there dying. It was so hot,
sweating.
And then I remember going back and forth to where the play. Remember, you could go into where the players were, and it was air conditioned. I'm like, dude, it's going on right outside. I mean, if we miss something, we can go back out there. But then it just started. The monsoon came, and it was just the heavens opened. It was they're doing the zombie dance or the chant.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's what brought the rain to begin with. But
and they summoned it in.
Oh, and it became a game because Texas was running away with it.
Yeah, I remember Texas. I think Texas jumped up big on them, but I remember they came back.
And UCF came back and was I believe a touchdown away from at least tying it.
Yeah,
it wasn't tied yet, but it was like they made a rally. They came back. They made a comeback, and it was like, my gosh! But that place was rocking.
It was crazy. The atmosphere was crazy. You know, the student section, and I think they had one of their wide receivers had just went to the NFL. I think it was like Mike Sims Walker or something, and he came over and he shook our hand, and yeah, it was a cool experience. And they had the girls that were showing us around, but yeah, I remember wanting to be back inside. I want to see the game live, but I want to get inside to get out the heat.
Oh gosh!
Then the rain come, and
I want to get soaked.
I had on this hot black jersey and attracting all this heat to it, and I was over there dying. And I'm like, man, I need some more water. And but it was a good experience. It was just crazy the atmosphere.
Got to meet George O'Leary.
Yeah, George O'Leary. Sat down with him, did a one-on-one with him, did a one-on-one with the linebackers coach, and then the guy who showed me around, who was my recruiting coordinator, Coach Panagos. Another crazy story, small world. I joined the football staff at South Sumter last year.
Right.
And so back in 2007 was when I played my senior year, graduated 2008.
Right. In
2007, Coach Ty Lawrence, who's the head coach, he was my linebackers coach.
Right.
Well, now he's the head coach, so he's dealing with all these recruiters and stuff that come in.
Yep.
So I don't work at the high school like some of the other coaches. So he calls me, like 11 o'clock one day, and I'm looking at my phone like, Coach Lawrence calling me for, I don't see him till 4 o'clock. We got football practice. Coach Lawrence called me for. Pick up the phone. Hey, what's going on, Coach Lawrence? Hey, do you remember a guy from UCF that recruited you? I'm like, you talking about Jim Panagos? And he's like, yeah, he's sitting in my office right now. He's now at Kansas, and he came down here and he remembered you, and he's like, it's just crazy that you remembered his name. Like, he was like, if you could see him right now when you just said his full name, his eyes just I'm like, oh man, that's wild. Like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coach Panagos, he was a great recruiter, man. He was a real good recruiter. But yeah, he showed me around the UCF, and so we got that one in. We got the Buffalo one in.
So how did FAU come about?
FAU was another school that had, if I'm not mistaken, had offered me that junior spring. Right. They were another program that had offered me that junior spring. Coach David Cerner. I mean, he was second to none when it came to recruiting. Man, he was at our school faithfully. He was at the football games. I mean, this guy was relentless. He came to that Leesburg game in the Citrus Bowl, and at the time he was just a deputy win Now I think he's Lieutenant Wynn. But at the time, Deputy Wynn would travel with us for our games, and he saw Coach Cerna coming down the sideline, and he stopped him and who you here to see? And he was like, "Oh, I'm recruiting Yourhighness Morgan." And Deputy Wynn was like, "You ain't gonna get him. He going to the U," because Miami had stopped by. So he was like, "Man, I'm gonna stay on you. You know, I just talked to somebody, said you going to Miami. I'm like, I ain't going to Miami. They ain't offering me no scholarship." But yeah, I remember him like telling me before, like, man, he was like, "Man, you're gonna get a lot. You're gonna get a lot of big offers." And he was like, "But I'm gonna stay on you. I'm gonna stay with you."
Yeah. And
he kept telling me that, and I'm like, "Why he keep saying that?" But he, you know, and like I said, at that time, I'm LSU and Auburn and Mississippi State. Mississippi State, it was so weird. This is before they have this huddle now.
Yeah.
Everybody could just go log in the huddle. I was right at the end of the VHS tape era, and we were introduced to the DVD.
Yeah.
The DVD era. So Mississippi State Bulldogs, SEC, they came to the high school 3 times.
Oh, wow. 3
times to get my tape. And every time they got back to their facilities with it, they said it wouldn't play. So they're trying to evaluate. And Coach Sherman every time Coach Sherman giving them the DVD.
Wow.
And every time they calling me back, "Yeah, that disc y'all gave us won't play, man." So the way that this whole recruiting thing works, you know, every coach on the college staff is assigned to a specific area.
Right.
So, you know, if they got team has a need for whatever position, you might get recruited by a running back coach. Right. Because he's the recruiting coordinator for your area. Right. You don't meet your actual position coach until later on. Right. But so if that guy comes out, and that's what David Cerna was from FAU, the guy that recruited me. He was the running back coach. You know, he hit this area. Hey, I feel like I got a guy that might be beneficial to our team, and he takes the tape back down to FAU, and they all sit down as a staff. Right. And they watch it and they decide on it. So. Yeah, they were one of the programs that had offered me early on, and at first I didn't really take them serious. Right. You know, I'm talking to all these other schools, and you know, I just not a school I'm about to take serious. Right. But his relentlessness through the whole process, when it came down, when it came time to. Because you were allowed 5 official visits. Right. So the unofficial, I had went to UCF. Unofficially, I had went to USF. And USF, they were pretty high on me, but they never did offer. I remember they would stop by often. They invited me down when they played UCF at home, which was, you know, they play in the Buck Stadium. Right. They invited me down for that game, and I went, and they killed UCF. I mean, we just left this classic against Texas, and UCF lost like 35-32 against, you know, the Texas Longhorns, and they go over to Tampa, and it was like 64-10. Oh my USF. I mean, Ben Moffitt was playing down there. Yeah. Richard Kelly was on that team.
Was Sam still there?
Sam Miller would have had to still been on that team. I think they had a cornerback named Mike Jenkins.
Oh yeah.
Man, I think he had
the Cowboys.
I think he had a pick 6 that game, and I mean USF was just loaded that season. As a matter of fact, it's crazy. USF and FAU played that same season, and it was a better game than the UCF game. Right. I think FAU lost maybe like 23-35, but after beating them, USF ended up being ranked like number 2 in the nation. Right. Because they had beat like West Virginia and Auburn to open the season, and they had like maybe 6-0, 7-0 start. Right. And they ended up getting ranked number 2 in the nation. So, you know, maybe a little bit before that, I might have got the scholarship offer. Gotcha. But, you know, now they up and they ranked that high. Oh, yeah. They think they can get it whoever they want to get. Right, like I said, they recruited me the entire senior year, but I never did officially get that offer. Right. But yeah, so I ended up visiting Western Kentucky Western Kentucky Hilltoppers in Bowling Green. There was another school that was real high and had came in early. And
right.
I visited FAU. And the crazy thing about FAU and just recruiting in general, not just FAU, but when the college brings you in for a visit, for the official visit,
right,
signing day would have been like February the 10th or something like that.
Gotcha.
So the whole month of January, each weekend, about four weeks,
right,
they're trying to bring in recruits. So that first week, they want to bring in the ones they really want.
Right.
The second week, maybe I didn't get a guy to commit last week. I need to fill up and it trickles down from there.
Right.
So FAU on my visit wanted me to commit. Like, don't take no other visits. It's over with. Commit now. If you don't, next week we're gonna have to bring in another linebacker because they needed like 3 backers that year.
Right.
And if you don't commit next week, that guy that we bring in, if he commits,
right,
then, so I'm like, well, I had promised my best friend at the time, Tony, T-Man, I promised him that I was going to go on the Middle Tennessee visit with him.
Right.
Because that was the only common scholarship that we had together. So I'm like, I already promised him next weekend I'm going to Middle Tennessee with him. It's like, well, we can't let you take that visit if you're going to commit to us, because I'd fallen in love with the program, FAU. I'd fallen in love with them on the visit. I mean, the beautiful campus, and I mean, they had a schedule where they played. They played a lot of big teams. They had played Florida. They had Texas on the schedule as well.
Right.
Nebraska. I mean, they had a bunch of big schools on there, and then it's still in Florida. That was one of the only other Florida offers that I had, state of Florida school. So I at the time, I kind of knew I wanted to go there, but I wasn't ready to give my commitment yet.
Right.
And I had kind of gave a soft verbal commitment to Middle Tennessee.
Right.
I told them when I came up on the visit, I would commit to them. So they telling me that if you go on this visit, then you can't secure the scholarship. I say, well, I tell you what, man, I'm taking this visit.
Right.
With my best friend. I'm going to do it.
Right.
If y'all give it to somebody else, you give it to somebody else.
Right.
I can't fault you, because you gotta take care of your situation. I didn't understand as a 17-year-old how much of a business all this was.
Right.
I didn't know that at the time. I didn't understand it. So it's such a business. Everybody's gonna do what's best for them on every level. Absolutely. So I told them I'm taking it. Like, if y'all don't, then that just will sway me to go play at Middle 10, and we play y'all. Right. We play. They're in the same conference as y'all. So the head coach, Howard Schnellenberger, he ended up calling me back in his office before I left, and he's like, "Well, I see that you're a man of your word, and it means a lot to you that you gave your word to your best friend that you was gonna take this visit with him. Right. So I'm gonna allow you to take this visit with him, but immediately after that, I need to know something." Yeah. So I was like, all right, I respect that. So I ended up taking the visit to Middle Tennessee the following weekend, and I didn't commit to FAU or Middle Tennessee. I didn't commit to Buffalo. I had like FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, and I'm not committing to FIU, and I didn't commit anywhere. Right. So I just kind of needed a couple of days to think about some stuff, and I remember Coach Schnellenberger called me. Well, what asked me what's happening, what's going on, and I don't know, Coach. I just don't know what I want to do. And he's like, well, we're gonna come see you. How about that? We'll drive up and see you. So him and Coach Cerner, the guy who's recruiting me, they drive up here. Right. And I got a basketball game that night. We're playing at Wildwood. So he come walking in Wildwood Gym. And I'm about to play this basketball game. I'm like, I don't need this right now, man. I'm trying to figure this out still. And they come up here and they end up getting a speeding ticket in Coleman. Coleman.
Shakedown, Shakedown shorty.
Coleman real bad at the time. Coleman, they end up getting a speeding ticket. So I'm kind of feeling bad.
Wow.
Like, man, this man, they got a speeding ticket in Coleman trying to get over here. So after the game over with, we ended up going back to Frog Alley.
Yeah.
They followed the bus on down here and followed me back to Frog Alley and came in and we talked a little bit longer and told him I still wasn't ready. Yeah. And I ended up taking a long walk around Webster that night. I'm through the flea market and I'm just walking and just thinking about it. And it's like, man, I think I'm going to go ahead and call and commit.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Did he leave his pipe?
Nah. That man smoked that pipe, man.
That's what he did at the University of Miami when he was a recruit. He would, I think it was Jerome Brown's house. They said he left his pipe there because he said, that gives me a chance to come back.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
He did that on purpose.
I'll tell you what he did do. That was kind of cool at my house. Once he followed me back from the game and we were sitting outside talking. And my oldest brother, Jaquise, Tricky's a UM fan.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's seen something UM. Or I might have told him my brother was a Miami fan. Oh, really?
Pull that ring off, baby.
I'll show him this. Gave me his national championship ring for Miami. I took it and showed it to my brother. Like, hey, look at this. He got a natty ring from Miami. Yeah, that was kind of cool. So
yeah, that would be cool. He would be on my list to meet. I mean, obviously he's
man,
gone,
Snelly was a character. Yeah, rest in peace to Coach Schellenberger. He was a character.
Awesome coach. And recruiting. He was just the man at recruiting.
He had this theory, man. He had this theory about, if I'm not mistaken, and I have to ask one of my old coaches. I think he called it the state of Miami or something like that.
It was I-4.
He had a map.
I-4. Anything south of I-4, that was his territory.
Yeah, he had a map.
Never went north.
He had a map of the state of Florida.
Right.
And he had a line drawn through it. Yep. And it was basically, from there on down,
yep.
That was his.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
a lot of talent. And that was still, I was telling somebody the other day, back in the day, it was just 3 universities, and then now you got, and then all of a sudden UCF and South Florida come around, and so then you got 5, and then FAU and FIU, and then you got Florida Gulf Coast, and
man,
so the recruiting has shrunk because there was no plethora like there was back in the 80s,
Right.
You might have to travel to Sarasota, Clearwater, or Daytona or whatever, but you could get kids.
Right.
Now they're going to Bethune-Cookman or they're going down south, to FAU or FIU or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, it has changed quite a bit.
A lot, man. And I think about, how blessed I was for them to have a program because some of the guys that played, let's say like in the 90s, before they were an established football team,
right?
They were probably good enough to go there, but just didn't have the opportunity because they didn't have it. If you wasn't going to Florida State of Miami,
right,
you probably wasn't going to play somewhere in the state of Florida. So
absolutely.
I just look at it as just a blessing for me. And even now, so that was in 2008. Now you got Stetson got football.
Yeah.
You got this Warner team.
Right.
And you got, there's football teams everywhere.
North Florida.
So
Southeastern.
Back then it was a lot harder in order to get, a scholarship or have a school that would even take you in to play some kind of ball.
Absolutely.
They had like 120 D1s. I think my senior had like 120 Division I schools.
Right.
Man, you got to figure if let's say there's 300 high schools in the state of Florida, you might have 300 seniors coming out at linebacker, and that's just in the state of Florida that are all trying to get into Florida State of Miami.
Yeah.
Then you go to Georgia, they got even more high school.
Yep.
And so you think about all those kids in 50 states trying to get into 121 schools.
Right.
That's what makes the numbers so crazy.
Absolutely.
And it's actually something like 2% of high school athletes get a scholarship for their sport.
Right.
And then less than that, make it professional in that sport.
Right.
So
you go to FAU and you get your feet wet in that experience in college. You get your taste of D1 college football. How was that for you? Like, obviously it's a big adjustment from high school, but what were some things that stuck out to you that are about FAU that you liked and that you kind of still miss? I mean, what are some things that if somebody, a young guy, was going to go to consider FAU, what are some things you'd tell them?
So in order to get to that, I got to tell another story.
Okay, go ahead.
I got to tell another story. So after I committed to FAU, I ended up getting a scholarship offer to Michigan State. Okay. And, at that point in time, it was like that might have been the big offer that I had been waiting on. Right. It's a Big Ten school. Right. Big Ten network. They on TV every week.
Right. A lot of history.
Yeah. So, and now I'm really struggling with my decision. And I remember, I went and asked Coach Lawrence, like, "Hey man, what should I do here?" And he told me something that was very important. He said, "I don't want to tell you anything that's going to influence your decision because you're the one that has to go there for 4 years."
Right. Absolutely.
I'm like, that's not the answer I was looking for, man. And he was like, "Seriously, like wherever you pick,
you got to go.
I'm going to support you, but you have to go and be comfortable living there for the next 4 years."
Right.
So
it better be a good one.
And so I'm like, okay, well, let me see. Can I live in Buffalo? No.
Too cold.
They brought me up in like September, October, something like that. And I remember I seen they had these like tunnels. They had like these tunnels that connected to the classrooms around campus. Mm-hmm. They got all these. So I finally asked somebody, what's this tunnel thing up here for? Oh, in the wintertime, when it snows, you might not be able to get around down here, so you have to walk through those to get to your next. All right, thank you.
That's all you had to say. All you had to say.
Not gonna do it. Didn't see myself in Murfreesboro for 4 years. Yeah. Bowling Green, it wasn't bad, and there's FAU, man. The atmosphere. Yeah. You get off I-95, other side of the state.
You're right there.
You get off on I-95, it sits right there. It was like about 3 hours to get to it. Palm trees, just beautiful. The beach was 4 minutes away. Yeah. I could live here for 4 years. Yeah, aside from football. Right. Because, I'm going to play football regardless. Right. I don't care if I'm having a good time or not, I'm going to play the football. I'm going to do my part in the football, but to actually enjoy my setting, enjoy my atmosphere, it was the best atmosphere for me. I'm still in the state of Florida.
Right. I was going to say you're 4 hours from home.
And again, at that time, still didn't have a car. Right. So I'm not finna, be moving to all these far places, and I'm not even driving at the time. So it was like just the atmosphere. And another big draw for me was, it was a newer program, and it's like, what if we get in there? And my senior year, back when they were a powerhouse, Michigan Wolverines, they had lost to Appalachian State.
Oh, that was the year
to open that season.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was a huge deal. I believe App State blocked a field goal attempt of Michigan and recovered it, and time ran out, and that was a huge deal at the time. Like, Olympus has fallen type of deal. App State's this little small school. It got no business playing against Michigan in the first place. So
David and Goliath type deal.
Yeah, so it was like a draw to me to like, what if I can go down and help a newer program get established? You know, what if we go down and we run the table for a couple years and we get this program to the next level?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That was like a bigger draw for me than going somewhere that's established and just
has a history. And
just being another guy that just went there like, hey, man, let's go down here and start something. Let's get a legacy going of our own. So
that's awesome.
That would be what I would sell to a kid, you know, if he was going there. It's a great atmosphere. You're going to love it. You know, y'all still have a chance to dominate, you know, early and get this program noticed. You know, they're in the Final Four for basketball right now. Yeah. And you know, that's it. It has ignited a fire in all the alumni. Yeah. There's not a whole lot to be proud of a lot of times when you're at a startup place because, you know, they're still trying to establish themselves. But man, everybody's on social media now. They posting their old pics from FAU and you got the owl eyes going up everywhere. Like everybody, they on 10 right now. Everybody's on 10 because the basketball team's in the Final Four. Like we've arrived in the sport. We done made it. Like we're here. So yeah, that would be something that I would tell a kid if they was going.
You also had a teammate join you down at FAU.
Ricky Velasquez.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
my boy Ricardo.
Yeah.
Ricky, man. So yeah, once I committed and signed my scholarship and stuff, Ricky, academically, smart. I mean, Ricky was probably in the tops of our class easily, like just without trying.
It was now he's an AP now at the middle school.
Ricky, you feel me? So Ricky was just.
It's not. I'm not surprised by any means.
Right. It's a real smart kid. So
very smart guy.
He decided that he would come down and I was excited when he let me know because I didn't know anybody else down there, even though I'm still in Florida and it's only 3.5 hours away. I still didn't know nobody. So when Ricky told me he was coming, I just.
So did you guys room together? Or?
No, we never got the room together. For the most part, they made us room with the football players, the other people on the team.
Gotcha.
So we never roomed together. I tried to get Ricky to come out and get out of his room a lot of times. He wouldn't do it.
You were the bad influence.
It wasn't a bad influence.
You know what I mean? Like the little, come on.
I was. Because I'm trying to get Ricky to enjoy the college experience. Right. You know, you can get... Them books, them books gonna be there, Ricky, man. Yeah. Come out here with me. Come out here. He ain't want to do Ricky in the room studying and on the video game. But every time he would get ready to come back to Sumter, he would always let me know. Yeah. He would call me or text me and, are you free today? Do y'all have workouts this weekend? Like, what do y'all have going on? I'm going. And shoot, boy, I used to be so happy to see him or get that text on a Friday sometimes. Because red shirt, freshman year red shirted. So when they fly out to Alabama or Texas or something to play a game, we're sitting around campus and watching it.
Watching the game.
And then when they fly back in, we might have practice. So he hit me up that Friday and they done flew out already. I'm hitting the road. I'm gonna come up here and watch my Raiders play that night.
Oh yeah.
So Ricky, he did that, man. Ricky probably he took care of me in that way. I want to say at least 3 years up until I got my first car. Yeah. Ricky provided me transportation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the whole time I was down there, man. So I appreciate my brother for that, and I love Ricky for
that. So when you're at FAU and you're an athlete, how does it feel being the athlete? Is it like are you And I'm saying this because, you go to Florida and, or Florida State, Miami, those guys are rock stars. Right. I didn't know I'm not trying to put them down on the caliber, but a smaller school like that, are you still the same way? Or do they just go, oh, that's our football team? Because a lot of places, if they don't follow the football team, they may have class with a football player and they don't even know who they are.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Outside of the gear or whatever, you wouldn't know, man. Yeah. So,
you still have
being at a newer program again, and some of my teammates, man, we were trying to instill tradition.
Yeah.
And we were trying to instill having a sense of pride. Like I said, this whole basketball team being in the Final Four right now, you got everybody posting on them.
Right.
When Lane Kiffin was the head coach down there a couple years ago, and he had them win 11-3 football season, everybody was starting to post about them. But when we was going through the struggle,
nobody knew.
Nobody really
cared.
They didn't really acknowledge much, and it wasn't like they were proud of us.
Right.
It wasn't an uncommon thing for you to be headed toward the cafeteria and you might see students walking around with a Florida State hoodie or a North Carolina Tar Heel hoodie,
Gotcha.
And me and a couple of the other guys started saying something about it. Like, hey man, what college you go to?
Are y'all lost?
Yeah, what? You go to Florida Atlantic, right? You take that Florida State hoodie off around here, man. It's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, it is.
We out here grinding and 6 a.m. workouts and 1 o'clock film session and practice from 3:30 to 6 o'clock, and then study hall from 7 to 9, and going up here to Nebraska and playing the Dominican Sioux on Saturday, and get back here and you walking around with a Nebraska hoodie on. That's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
That's like going to South Something to see somebody with a Wildwood hoodie on.
Yeah.
I don't even wear blue around here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we were trying to instill that back then.
Yeah.
Like, man, y'all got to take pride in this too. Like,
right.
Y'all are our fans. Y'all supposed to be. Y'all go to our school. It's just crazy. Yeah. We didn't get into Florida State. We didn't get into Miami. We didn't get into Florida. We here, so we finna wear it. It's our pride.
Right.
This who gave us a shot. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does.
Some people were football fanatics.
Yeah.
They would love, hey, that's a football player.
Right.
They gave us the acknowledgement, and we did a lot of community activities in Boca Raton. We there was a place called Helping Hands, Boca Helping Hands, and we would get out in the community down there and help serve food to homeless, and we would go up to the malls and do different events and stuff like that. So it's cool to watch it as it grows. And to see how far they're going to take it, and trying to lock in a big name coach or just a coach that's going to help establish it.
Right.
Because, Kiffin had his good years, Howard Snellenberger had his good years, but on a consistent basis, if we started winning consistently, it would help, build up the program and start getting, the recruits that they want to get, and
absolutely.
Yeah, just helping out completely.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Kona Ice. Kona Ice is a shaved ice truck that brings a one-of-a-kind tropical experience to you. Guests can flavor their own Kona Ice on our signature flavor wave, dance to our island music tunes, and enjoy a nutritious and delicious treat. Contact Jeremy and Marissa at 352-403-0515. Don't forget to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Pennsauken's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and puff. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app. Is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stain? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. So you had a successful career at FAU. You had some injuries.
Yeah. So,
I mean, successful as in what you could control.
Me coming in, it might have been a little bit different than other people because a lot of people did know who I was.
Right. And
some of the players, I'll try to get some of them. Once you start doing outsiders, I'll get some of the players to come up here, but they didn't think I was coming.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so like the players that knew of me, like he ain't coming here.
Yeah.
He can go somewhere else. So like some of the players knew, some of the parents knew, so it might have been a little different for me. And then I know we had one of our coaches, his name was Coach Pete. He said something one day like we were out at practice and talking, and it was a couple kids over there arguing about who was better and all this stuff. And he was like, well, none of y'all better than Yourhighness Morgan. He's the biggest recruit to ever come to this school. So it's like, what? Stuff I wasn't thinking about, but obviously other people knew about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was, I caught a little bit of scrutiny from our defensive coordinator, who was there at the time, and he ended up getting let go, I think, after 2 seasons that I was with him. But he didn't like the fact that I had taken the Middle Tennessee visit, and then he definitely didn't like the fact that I had taken the Michigan State visit. So I remember him specifically like telling me one time, you think you're too good for this program. You think you're too good to be here.
Just because you took other visits?
Yeah. And I'm like, I've never said that.
Right.
Like that never came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to help advocate for this program.
Right.
And then when I get here and for you to say something like that, it's kind of disrespectful because I've never said that.
That's happened to me before. People ask me that all the time, like, when have I ever given you a reason?
Yeah,
I think I'm better than you. I don't think that.
I didn't say that. I didn't carry myself like that. Yeah. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
I got there that eye-opening experience, so to speak, because I've never played the same position 2 seasons in a row. I went from quarterback, tight end, defensive end, linebacker. So when I'm walking into a college campus, I just kind of learned how to play linebacker last year.
Right.
So
you got 1 year in.
I only got 1 year in, and now y'all give me this thick playbook.
Yeah.
And I remember that that first camp that I was in, feeling like they got so much expectations for me. And I'm like, man, I'm not a fraud, but I don't know this position like that. Yeah. Like I can run, I can hit, but I don't really know the ins and outs of this position just yet. I know gaps.
Right.
I know how to read a guard because Coach Lawrence was always on me about reading the guard, but I don't, the coverages and all that. We had, I think, camp in Howard Schnellenberger. He was one of the few people that was still doing 3-a-day camps at that point in our career. Like that was done. Wow. Nobody was really doing that. Yeah. It might have been maybe a total of 5 other schools, maybe. But I know for sure we had 3-a-days.
Wow.
So camp might have been, let's say camp was like 22 days. Every day you're installing defenses. Yeah. So there might be a new front, there's a new blitz, there's a new coverage. Right. Second day, there's a new coverage, there's a new blitz, so now by the time we had reached day 22 of camp and we're putting a wrap up to camp and okay, this is going to be the travel squad, this is guys who redshirt, we had over 19 coverages. Oh, wow. And that I'm supposed to learn in 22 days. Yeah. I can't learn 19 coverages in 22 days. I mean, I'm like, red shirt. I gotta take this red. Yeah, y'all doing the right thing. Because I'm just, so that's why it's a huge deal when a freshman comes in and impacts a team immediately. Yeah. Because it's a lot to learn in a short amount of time. Right. Short. You might have 20 days in a camp. Right. And you have to learn the whole offense or the whole defense, and unless they're going to call stuff that you're comfortable with, which is going to put the team at risk. Right. Yourhighness is going in. We can only run cover 2 because that's all he knows. Yeah. We can't run man. We can't run cover 3, cover 4. So unless they're going to tailor it around you, you ain't got no chance out there. So that was like a big eye opener to me. Like, man, I got to learn all this. And then when you get into the season after camp's over with, there's really not time to learn anymore. Right. Because week 1, you preparing for the Gators. Yeah. If you redshirting, you on the scout team, you over here looking at a card, okay, I'm supposed to blitz through the A gap. It's not my defense.
Right.
I'm mimicking Florida. I'm mimicking the Florida defense.
Right.
Next week we got North Texas. I'm mimicking North Texas. There's not a time for you to install your own defense.
Right.
So one thing that Coach Schnellenberger did, I'm pretty sure other colleges did it too. I don't, maybe in a different fashion, but he had this thing called a toilet bowl on Sunday. So college football get played on Saturday.
Right.
That Sunday, if you hadn't played in at least 30 plays, I think it was 30, could have been 15 or something. Maybe it was 20. But if you hadn't played in so many plays in the game on Saturday, then you were going to participate in the toilet bowl on Sunday, which was basically just a scrimmage.
Yeah.
All the kids, because it's a chance for you to run your defense, your offense, as opposed to giving a look. Right. And so every Sunday, we would do that. Every Sunday there was a scrimmage. If you didn't play Saturday, and even if you played Saturday, but you only played X amount of plays, you're going to scrimmage on Sunday. So it was a way for you to start running your own defense. And, that would continue on from August to December, bowl time. Right. And at that time, we never went bowling in January. We played the Motor City Bowl in Detroit my red shirt freshman year, but they actually brought me. I got to travel because they was like, this is one of the things we brought you here to do. Right. So I actually got to travel up to that game, and we played at the Ford Field. Yeah. Where the Lions play, and I think it was December the 26th. We got to do that, but that would be the routine from August to December. Right. And you wouldn't get a chance to get back into your playbook and your plays until spring would come back around. Right. You do a little bit of 7-on-7s in between that January, April time, but you really don't get back with your coaches because you wasn't allowed, and they're doing recruiting at that time. Right. They out on the road, so you didn't get a chance to really get back into your playbook until springtime. Right. And so it was a battle to try to. You got to try to learn. You got to try to find extra time. You got to find time to get up in the film room and try to get the film in on your own. And you got to try to find time to read and understand this playbook. Or maybe you can grab an upperclassman and, hey, bro, you got 15 minutes. Can you show me this? And that's if they willing to do it. Because some of them look at it as like, I'm not finna help him. He trying to take my spot. Right, exactly. I have no chance of taking your spot. But that's just the way that some of the guys looked at it. So What's one of the coolest places you ever got to play in college? Like easily, Texas, Longhorns. Oh, in Austin. In Austin, wow. we played there my sophomore year, 2010. I think when I was playing, I think that was the biggest crowd that we played in front of. I think it was right at 100,000 people. Oh my gosh. And coming from our little program down there, we probably only played in front of, 10, 15, maybe 20,000 at a time, to go up there and play in front of 100,000. Mm-hmm. And again, you done watched Jamal Charles and Vince Young and Cedric Benson and Colt McCoy and, to go up there and actually play in that stadium, man, it was surreal. And that was a good game too. I had a pretty good game against those guys, but it was cool to play up there. We got to play in the Buck Stadium when we played USF. When we played at Nebraska, that was like 95,000. Yeah, that's a big deal up there. Not much to do up there. Man, Nebraska, they love their football, so their fans are nice. Really? Yeah, like they have a very nice crowd. So, a little FAU, and they probably paid us like $500,000, $600,000 to play that game. Yeah. So they fly us up there, and we go out there and we play them, and they win convincingly. Yeah. Other than when the ball got kicked off, I'm not sure we had a chance. Yeah. Right. But after the game's over with, they like clapping and, you guys did good. You're gonna win your conference. I don't want to hear that right now. Y'all just killed us, man. But yeah, so I was like, your chin up. I'd never experienced that. Yeah. High school for the most part, outside of a rivalry game, you might have some little hostile fans. They yelling at you or whatever, but ain't nobody clapping for you after the game, talking about you going to go win your division. So that was different. That was different to hear the Nebraska crowd do that.
Man, I've been to Georgia Southern to watch Debo was there, but he was hurt. He wasn't playing. He had blown his ACL or MCL, whatever. But Pappenheim was playing at App State. App State came to town.
Okay.
I took my dad up there. I've been to many Florida games. I've been to that UCF game. I've been to I went to the bowl game App State in Toledo. Nothing was like that Georgia Southern. I got cussed out. And App State got blown out. They didn't even score. They got shut out. Blown out. And, and of course, where are we sitting? Student section. Oh, my God.
They laying into y'all. I already know.
They weren't as bad as after the game. Just people walking up, just drunk, just cuss. I'm like, I just look at them and go, keep walking. What are you doing? We got our butts kicked, and you're over here talking trash.
They still got to let you know. They still.
Oh, man, it was crazy. But
Georgia Southern, huh?
I told AJ that. He goes, well, you shouldn't have worn them black and gold. And I said, man, I went there for Pap.
Yeah, trying to show support.
Yeah, I couldn't do half.
That's
if Debo was playing, I'd have wore half, but he wouldn't even play. So
the Swamp, man, we used to go there a lot in high school, and the Swamp used to be pretty hostile, depending on who come to town.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there I was there the Ole Miss game when Tebow lost, and you did the Promise game. Remember that? That was the Blind Side. He was playing.
Okay, Michael Orr.
Yeah, Michael Orr. He was playing. So I thought that was kind of cool, that whole deal. And Florida. I've never been to a Florida game, but been to LSU games, and even the LSU fans are like, I mean, they will come. They travel, but they are like,
that's supposed to be one of the toughest places to play at.
I would love to go there, but I think I would wear an LSU shirt
just to make it out safe, man.
Yeah. You never know.
I've seen fans get assaulted up there at the Swamp, like coming out of those games. I've seen them drunk college kids.
Yeah,
man.
It depends on where you are, and it's got to be the right situation. Are these people intoxicated?
Right.
What are they on? You never know.
Let me just keep walking.
Right.
Let me get to my car.
Yeah.
Okay,
just let me get out of here, please.
Yeah. All right.
But you got another area. You don't put yourself in a position where you can't get out of it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
You can't. I'm not gonna go. I don't like walk the streets of New York at night, 3 a.m.
Right.
I mean, you're putting yourself in a bad situation to begin with. You can't do that. But if you had to, you have to work around it and you make it work. But
yeah.
So, anyways, you get through college, and then what was your next step? What do you? Because I thought you wanted to be a lawyer at one time.
It was so that thought crossed my mind. So I got wrapped up in football pretty tight, and it definitely was a goal to go to the NFL.
Right.
And I never forget the day that I found out that wasn't even going to be possible. Like, I wasn't even going to get a shot at it. I went through a series of concussions, while I was there, but I just played the game fast and I played the game violent. I wouldn't take it back and do it different for nothing in the world. Right. But I remember going to, it's a place called the Cleveland Clinic.
Okay.
I went to the Cleveland Clinic, and I had been there, and I'd seen, at this point, I think I had seen about 4 doctors trying to get cleared to play. Right. And the first one turned me down. I think he was he's like a hockey Panthers, Florida Panthers.
Yeah, Miami.
Something. He was seen this guy. Then I seen a doctor from the Carolina Panthers, and I seen another doctor. And so when we got about to the 5th one, the head trainer at FAU was like, this gonna be the last one, man. And, you're probably gonna have to shut it down. So I'm like, man, it's gonna be crazy. Went in there and the CAT scans, MRIs, and there's too much damage done to your frontal lobe, and this is all this white area that's not supposed to be there, so we're not gonna be able to clear you. And I'm in there crying. I called my mama, and I would have been a junior that year. Like, mama, I ain't gonna be able to play football. It's like, I didn't send you down there to play football. I sent you down there to go to school.
Of course.
Talked to my brother, called Tricky, man. I ain't gonna be able to play, bro. I'm about to leave school. Finna come home. He's like, nah, you got to finish. It'd have been nice if you'd have went, but you didn't go down there for that, man. You got to finish school.
Right.
By that time, I had already declared my major as criminal justice.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have a whole bunch left anyway. So I ended up wrapping up December of 2012. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Didn't really have a plan.
Right.
I didn't really have a plan, but I'm like, man, I got this degree. I might as well use it.
Right.
Started trying to look for something in law enforcement, and I didn't get any bites my first year out of college.
Right.
So 2013, I'm applying to prisons and FHP, and I'm applying all these places. Rejected. No experience.
Wow.
Rejected. No experience. Not enough experience.
Right.
I'm like, well, how am I ever gonna get experience?
I have said that from day
if
one.
Y'all don't hire me.
Yeah. How do you get experience if you don't hire you?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I went doing some odd jobs for a little while, and eventually I ended up getting hired on to do corrections, and so I started doing corrections for a couple of years, and that was my plan after that. Like,
gotcha.
I'm gonna stay in corrections, but I knew I wanted to coach football one day. So I was always thinking in the back of my mind, I'm gonna have to do something towards maybe teaching,
right?
Because I need that schedule so I can get out and coach,
right,
somewhere. And I received a couple people wanted me to come and coach, but I didn't never really see myself coaching anywhere but South Sumter.
Right.
Like, I was like, I don't think I really want to coach at another school, because if you get there and you don't know the atmosphere, and watching you and Coach Sherman interview, like how he helped establish the program over here.
Right.
And it's like, man, what if you go to one of those schools and you got to start all the way from the bottom and teach the tradition and teach, the work ethic. And because coming up around here, I feel like that Raider pride, you just want to work hard. You want to do good. You want to succeed and be like the players of old and the past people. One of the biggest influences, coming out of our high school at the time, the person that I used to love to go and watch their games was like Earl Everett. Yeah. Earl. So, that was around the time when I say I probably started understanding football. I started watching at an early age, but to start to understand what's actually going on would have been around his time.
Absolutely.
So it's like, man, when I get up there, I got to do what he doing.
Right.
I gotta make sure I'm on that level. I don't want to let them down.
Right.
And I used to think it was always cool to see the guys that were in college. They would always come back like playoff time. And if you look down in the end zone, you might see Sam Miller, Earl Everett, and Ben Moffitt, Eric English. The times he could make it down, you might see Boo down there, and A.J. Bryan, and Matt Ellis, and it'd be like, man, I want to.
Yeah, you want to be a part of that.
I want to be a part of that.
Right.
I think that more than anything might have fueled, the work ethic and stuff to start. So, but yeah, definitely, I definitely love the coaching aspect, man, and it's something that I want to continue. Something that I want to continue doing, man. I think giving back, taking the knowledge that I've been able to acquire while I was in college, and giving it back to these kids, Webster, Bushnell. I think that's just something that you really can't put a price on, man.
Right.
You just can't put a price on that. I do it for free.
Right.
It mean that much to me just to give back to them. So
absolutely.
Yeah, something that I'm looking forward to.
So you're now back at South Sumter.
Yep.
You coached last year.
Yep.
You weren't there the season before, were you?
No,
just last season, right?
No, last year was my first official season on the coaching staff.
Gotcha.
over the years where I could, I've tried to stop by and try to be active. And actually, probably I say for about past 4 or 5 years, I train kids every summer for free.
Right.
Sports complex or, somewhere I'll find a field in Webster and we'll go out there and get cone drills and do that. So that was my way of giving back until I was able to get a schedule that allowed me to be up at the high school and actually coaching on the staff.
Right.
Yeah, that was my way of giving back up until last season. And last season was the first time I actually had the opportunity. So Coach Lawrence, he had mentioned it before, and I, just told him, my work schedule probably ain't going to allow me to be there full time.
Right.
And I don't want to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If I'm going to give you my full commitment, I want to be up there.
Right.
So when he asked last year, he asked me last year, hey, what you think about coming out and we switching the scheme of the defense, and I'd like for you to coach the outside backers. I'm like, I'm in there. I'm there. I'm there, man. This the year I'm finna make it happen.
Yeah.
I have to do something at work, but we're gonna make it happen. So
and I feel like we did. We had a great defense last year.
Ooh.
Man, I mean, we had how many? Didn't we have 4 shutouts or 3 shutouts?
Oh man, I think we had more than that.
Maybe more. I'm just saying I didn't want to be too carried away. It seemed like it was
we
probably, had quite a few.
Yeah, it was more than that, man. I tell you this, Coach Gauntlet, I jinxed it. I mean, Coach Gauntlet was sitting there laughing about it afterwards because I said, man, why did I have to say something? We were in our last district game, so I believe Crystal River, Hernando, and Denellen is our district. And the last one was Denellen, and we were up playing them. And I don't know, man, it might have been like 40-0.
Yeah, it wasn't close at all.
If I'm not mistaken, man, it might have been like a minute left or 2 minutes left in the game. Yeah. And I sitting on the sideline, I'm like, hey, Coach Gauntlet, man. He's like, what's up? I say, I don't think we've given up a touchdown in the district. And he's like, why did you have to say it? What? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like 2 minutes left. And our offense threw a pick six. Yep. And they scored. And I'm like, well, Coach, technically it wasn't on the defense. I was like, no, you should have said it. You should have said it.
We didn't give it up.
Yeah, I'm like, well, it wasn't on the defense. But yeah, the defense this year was one of the, one of the better defenses that, I've seen. I know we didn't give up a district touchdown. And they probably had another. I know they shut out the Villages, and they shut out South Lake and Crystal River, Hernando, Denellen. So that was like 5 shutouts right there. Right there. If I'm not mistaken, man, I think we only gave up like 5 rushing touchdowns in 13 games. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It was a fun group, and they bought in and they were sold out, and we look forward to building on that, for years to come.
Do we have upcoming this year? Because we lost a few seniors, quite a few.
Yeah, we lost a couple seniors, but man, we bringing back some players. Right. We bringing back some ball players, and one thing about it, we're gonna always reload, and we're gonna find them. I don't think that's been a problem here too many years.
No, I think the pipeline's still good.
Yeah,
good.
I think I think we'll be all right, man. We're gonna find the kids who want to play. We're gonna get them out there on the field, and then we're gonna go to war. We coming back.
Right. Coach Sherman did all this to get it all together, but Ty has done a lot to keep it going.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, I like to give Ty a lot of credit because, it seems like. There's a lot of work involved. There's so much work that people don't realize.
Man. Yeah.
You got meetings for this and after practice and jersey washing and blah, 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 and keeping the field done and our schedules and whatever. And it's like, man, you just – you think about being a head coach, you're like, my gosh, it's like,
and didn't know all this came with it.
It ain't all.
I didn't know. Yeah, even for me, being my first year, we definitely been, doing things that, as a player, maybe I seen some of it, but didn't understand the depth of it. And now that I'm getting, a little bit older and have a son, and it's like I'm giving up my Sundays for the Sunday meeting, and every day after after practice, instead of picking them up from daycare, instead of picking them up straight from daycare, I'm at practice.
Right.
And then having to try to find somebody to cover that time.
Right.
Friday nights, we might be up in, Gainesville or Zephyr Hills. So, Friday night's done. Saturday, you got to find some time to grade the game.
Yeah.
And it's just like it goes on and on. So for him as the head coach, he's trying to, one thing about Coach Lawrence, when he was just the position coach, Coach Lawrence was mean. He was so mean. He would get on you. He would yell at you. He'd get in your face.
Yeah.
He was, more about bringing the best out of you.
Right.
He wanted you to get to that level that you're playing at a high level because you're angry, you're mad, and that's the way we needed to play on defense at that time. Now that he's the head coach, he's more not even open and understanding, but he's more approachable for the kids. Because back then, when he was a linebacker coach, Coach Lawrence coming around, you start to feel a little bit. But now he's more approachable as a head coach, man.
Right.
You can, even back then you could call him anytime, but like now kids see him like that, that you can call Coach Lawrence anytime. I don't care where you at. You need to ride out of Center Hill.
Agreed.
You need to ride from Ridge Manor. Coach Lawrence either coming or he gonna make sure you get there.
You'll get a ride somehow.
He gonna do that, or whatever your home situation is. He knows it. Like it's probably not a kid on the team that he can't tell you their home situation. He's that invested into each player that he knows everything about them. Right. He know your strength. He know your weaknesses. And he do so much with all this gear that he's getting them, like equipment. He get new equipment every year. He's looking for something else. What can help us get better? And he come and ask the assistants first. Well, what do you need to be a better linebacker coach? What do you need to be a better D-line coach? Is there something that you saw that you want? Can we find a way to get it? And he's really embracing it. But, I think talking to him a while ago, and when I say a while ago, I mean years, if I'm not mistaken, I think, head coach is what he always wanted to do. Yeah. I think he's always, so it's one of those situations to where it finally happened for him. Right. And he's going to make sure he get everything out of it while he doing it. He ain't going to leave no meat on the bone. Right. He's just not going to do that. Right. Everything is going to be dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Right. He's going to leave feeling like he gave everything he had. Absolutely. Which is, the way he is as a dad to the way he was as a football player. That's just the way he lived. Right. So.
Well, speaking, Ty, he just, like, I would do anything for him. Yeah. And I've been there. Doesn't matter who you are. There's always going to be times where things happen and there's heated moments and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, it's all, it's all good. Yeah. I mean, I've had camera issues and had to tell him on game day. And it like we went to South Lake. Was it last year? Either last year or the year before.
Last year with the rain?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go to
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years. So we go to South Lake and that monsoon hit. Well, the camera stuff's up on top. Mm-hmm. Well, we covered it with plastic bags and stuff. The charger got wet. So the camera was fine. The charger died. So the battery on the charger is like 30 minutes or whatever. It's a little battery. So we use the cord so we just leave it plugged up the whole game. Well, they got wet and it malfunctioned. So they got the first quarter. And I was so scared to tell him. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But, he understands. And what did we do? We had to fix it. So we got a new cord, and next time we'll do a better job of making sure that this thing is completely covered. Yeah. You're trying to get out of the rain. You're not thinking.
Oh, of course not.
So it was just a freak accident deal, but I just didn't want to let him down. And he knows that. He knows I wouldn't do anything to. I look up to him as an older brother.
Definitely.
He's very close. Yeah. And but I understand, he can come off a little, but he's hilarious.
Oh yeah, man. He a good time, man. Yeah. And he's working hard.
Yeah. All the time.
All the time, and he's got when he's in go mode, he's got this laser focus.
Right.
So like you have to catch him afterwards,
right?
Because anytime in between, he's
Absolutely
focused on getting it done. Whatever it is. I don't care if it's taping a kid ankle or filling up the water cooler. Like when he focused, he focused, he locked in, and but you catch him afterwards, man. He's one of the most fun people to be around.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I've covered pretty much everything for this time. So next time we're going to have you come back again. Hopefully soon. Hey. Hopefully, I hopefully have enough guests to keep you at bay for a while.
Yeah, man, definitely. I could think of a bunch of guys.
And I'm gonna need your help trying to get them here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I appreciate you coming in today. Like I said, you've always been special. You're a good friend of my brother's. You're a good friend of mine, and I know I can call you anytime if I need something. Talk about football, reference football, especially South Sumter High football. This guy has so many stats and stuff. He's bringing out old paper clippings of Coach English and Boo and just it's just like you could probably open a museum for what you got. But
I love this program, man.
Yes, it's a great thing, man. And I'm hoping that this podcast will help promote them as well,
right?
And help our kids get looked at, so it's not so hard to find, be able to be found.
Yes, sir.
But again, I appreciate you coming over. Guys, join us next time. We're going to have another guest on soon, so I can't tell you who it's going to be. But we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. For the Goblay Show, I'm Billy Goble. It's about that time, guys. See you later.